People go, well, what does metahabilitation mean? What is that? Well, it does mean meta, going above and beyond. Habilitation is to restore or reinstate or bring people back. Metahabilitation is a word that connotates, no. You surpass, you exceed, you become better than the simple restorative state that you want to get to or that is possible for you. Metahabilitation as a philosophy acknowledges these events as opportunities. So what I'm going to do is tell you my story, and then that gives you an idea about where I came from and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So you see a picture up there of a darling little family, and that was the age that everybody was when I had my life's journey that started. So as they talked about, I'm very active, very engaging person, run marathons, triathlons, really into life. Our children, my husband and I had children, were on a swim team, and there's a big championship meet at the end of a season, and there's multiple teams there. So there's a lot of people. Now, my accident happened on a Sunday, and I have retrograde amnesia from Friday. So I kind of remember going out to dinner with some friends on Friday night, but then there's about 2 or 3 weeks of my life I have zero memory of. So I'm going off of what people have told me. So we're at the swim team, at the swim meet, and they had a fun relay. But if you're the kind of person, nothing's fun, it's competitive. I went to grab my husband, a couple friends, and they were having an adult relay before the final swim off. And I went and I said, come on, we're gonna win this. And I'm swimming last, because I'd been training a lot, and I'm gonna swim the fastest. Into the pool I go, swim, get to the side of the pool that's 13 feet deep, and the timer, I guess I finished, and the timer said, do you need help out? And I said, no, I'm fine. Then I just sunk to the bottom of the pool. They realized I wasn't surfacing. My husband dove to the bottom of the pool, pulled me to the side, got me poolside, and luckily, since there was a lot of kids there were a lot of parents. And some of those parents were emergency room physicians and a cardiac nurse specialist and whatever. So luckily, I had very good CPR at poolside. And they took 22 minutes to get my heart going. They landed a helicopter at a field close to where my accident was, got me in the helicopter. On the way to the hospital, my heart stopped again. They got it going. I ended up in ICU on a respirator, and there's the day that the life I knew was no more. The life I had was no more. I was in there on a respirator for 2 weeks, off the respirator, have no memory of any of this. So then I'm getting myself kind of prepared and figuring out, well, this is just like, okay, this is just a little blip in the screen, and I'm just gonna get back into life, and I'm gonna start running again, and I'm gonna start doing everything until the doctor came in my room, and I said, well, when will I be able to run again? And he said, oh, you're not gonna run again. You won't run. You'll walk, but you won't run again. Well, when will I be able to swim? Oh, you won't be able to swim again. You really can't do that. So after he left the room, I, of course, completely broke down. I can't believe, because my family, my brain, and my exercise, big things, those are gone. When they brought my husband in to see me the first time, they said, do you know who he is? And I said, yeah, and I called him my brother's name, because my brother actually he's tall and dark and looks like my husband. And then they brought my children in, and they said, do you know who they are? And I looked at them, and I thought, I know them, but I just couldn't place and get their names. So got out of the hospital, went back to my home. I'd go to my closet, say to my kids, tell Mommy, what I used to wear. What did I wear? So things were not that good. I ended up going back, and I started, I thought, I might not be able to run right, but I'm gonna start walking. And I walked out of my house, and I almost got lost in my own neighborhood. And I remember walking 3 blocks, and I was so exhausted, I had to sit down on the curb because I couldn't get back home. And friends of our neighbors are driving by, and they'd stop and they go, "Are you okay?" I go, "Oh, no, I'm just resting." So I got home and I thought, well, maybe I'm gonna have to walk a little bit more before I start running again. So what happened after that is, luckily, I did get hooked up with a physician, a cardiologist who was a runner. And he said, okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Let's put you through cardiac rehab. Let's have you exercise in an organized, safe fashion and see where we go with that. But you go on in life and you try and, not a lot of people came to me and said, here's what we're gonna do for you. What do you wanna do? Where do you wanna go with this? What's important to you? I didn't get any of that. So I sort of crawled back into life on my own. And I did start going back to work, and I'd start seeing patients as a nurse practitioner, and luckily I had lovely colleagues and they were very helpful. But I remember, and I wasn't working full time. I was just, trying to get into it part time. And I remember driving home one night after one of my shifts, and I just thought, this is too hard. This is too hard. I can't do this. I don't know when this is gonna happen. I don't know if I'm gonna get my brain, I don't know. If I just drove into that cement block, it'd be all over, and I wouldn't have this. And then all of a sudden I thought, oh my gosh, who brought me back? Who needs me? And I just had this moment of clarity. And it was at that moment that I thought, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't even know where I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna choose that road. And that's a critical part, because when you talk to people who I consider metahabilitate or get well, when they really turn things around, they can tell you almost where they were sitting, where they were at that moment of time, when they made that critical choice. They have no idea what's really gonna happen, but they made the choice. And that's a really important part of the whole recovery process. So I made that choice. And what I did was, I did go to cardiac rehab. I would, the physician that was my cardiologist, he's a runner, so I'd ask to run with him. And my husband always says, I love it when she runs with her cardiologist. I feel so much better when she's running with her cardiologist. I went back, I'd gotten my nurse practitioner training and schooling at University of California at Davis, so I went back to them and I said, can I just sit in class? They knew what happened. And I said, can I just sit in class? Can I just listen again? So I did that, and I just slowly but surely took one step, and things got better. And then it was about 2 years after my accident, and I thought, if I really want to get my brain back, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna go back to school. So I went back to school, I got my master's, and I looked at people who'd survived death events, because I was kind of curious if I had been the only one who had gone through the depression, the anxiety, the brain damage, all of that. So that's when I looked at other people who'd survived death events. I was curious what their experiences had been, and were people constantly looking to them at what they couldn't do, or were they being told things they could do and given that control over their life. I just saw patients twice a week, but it was during that time of seeing patients and having that time at home, I would see people who had gone through horrible things, but not only survived, but actually thrived, like embraced this traumatic event as being something that brought an incredible meaning to their life. Or I would read a book, or watch a movie, or read a poem, and I went, wow, what is that? What is that? What is that about the human condition, the human being, that they can take something, the depths of despair, and turn that around, not right away, but ultimately turn that around so they see not only everything it took away, but what it gave, where they could see saying yes to life, where they were able to focus on what you could do and what you want to do. So I went back to get my doctorate. So my doctoral work was on investigating these people that had gone through major catastrophic life events, but who had done well. Really wanted to put a wellness model on recovery and rehabilitation. So as I talked about my initial research involved a phenomenological investigation of survivors of near-death events. And I was very clear. I interviewed 6 people, pretty in-depth interviews. They both male and female, different age groups, and had different near-death events. Some, had a car accident, some had a heart attack, whatever. And they all kind of said the same thing afterwards. There was a lot of what they couldn't do anymore, a lot of what they were told they couldn't do anymore, a lot of being scared, a lot of being fearful, and that type of thing. And as I interviewed them, as I pulled it all together, I thought, they didn't do this in a haphazard way. There's a system here. There's a map. They may not have recognized, I did this, then I did this, then I did this, but you hear it over and over again, you went, there's a system here. Oh, and there's stages. That's right, they go through this stage and that stage and that stage. And then I thought, there are really a variety of characteristics for these people. They shared a lot of the same characteristics. And then also what I call facilitating conditions. You'd see, they would tell you, I listened to this, I got this person, I went out and did, so you'd see all that. Metahabilitation acknowledges and represents these events are not endpoints, these are beginnings. This is an opening up of possibilities. These activities, these things that happen, give you a profound opportunity to not only find out who you are, but who you can be. Who can you be? When we don't sometimes come up against something, we never figure that out. It's only really when we're tested that life says, tell me what this is all about.